Well, hello there, the Casual Gaming Geek here, and if you've been looking at the internet recently, it's obvious that hype for the Switch 2 is at an all-time high. I, for one, am pretty sure that it's going to be coming sometime soon. I think that if we get a Direct in January or February, it'll be announced then, probably releasing between April and May. That's my guess. So I want to just go over quickly my predictions for what I think will be included, like, my predictions for the console itself, but also my hopes of what I would like them to include, but I don't think they're going to. Before we get started, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and now let's get to it. Alright, so we're going to start with my actual predictions for the console. So these are things that I think are actually going to be part of the console. So we're going to start with, there's going to be at least two different versions. There's going to be a standard and there's going to be a higher end version like the OLED. I think that they're going to carry over the better designed kickstand and speakers from the current Switch OLED. That's going to be carried over to the standard one, and it'll probably be the same for both the standard and whatever the higher end model is. The one difference is, though, the one difference between those is it's still going to be, I think that the standard edition is still going to be just an LCD, and the higher end is going to be the OLED. I don't think they're going to include an OLED on the standard model, just because I think that's going to give, people aren't going to want to buy the higher end one otherwise. Carrying on with handheld or tabletop mode, I think that it's probably going to be 1080p in handheld, which, as opposed to currently the current Switch is only 720p in handheld. I think this one's going to be 1080 in handheld and 4K in docked. I mean, I think it's a pretty safe bet that it's going to be a 4K system, just because everyone else has a 4K system at this point. I say everyone else, it's only Sony and Microsoft. But so they have 4K, so I think Nintendo's going to do 4K this time. They kind of have to at this point, since they got some criticism for not with the Switch. Alright, so the next thing is, obviously, it's going to be backwards compatible. The original Switch has just such a huge library of games. It would be stupid for them to not make it backwards compatible, as this way they can keep selling their original Switch games, especially the ones that came out later in the lifetime of the Switch, like Tears of the Kingdom or Super Princess Peach, or what's it called, Princess Peach Showtime, that's coming out. So they're going to want it to be backwards compatible to be able to maximize the profits they can get off of the later games from the Switch. As part of that, I think there's going to be a nice, easy system to transfer all of your save data, which, it's kind of self-explanatory, but I'm putting it out there. You're going to easily be able to transfer all your save data from the original Switch, which is going to be great. Now, one of the big problems with the current Switch, the controllers. Obviously, they're going to improve the controllers. They've gotten so much negative feedback about the Joy-Cons and the stick drift and everything. Obviously, they are going to improve the controllers. So obviously, yes, they're going to go with a better joystick or thumbstick that is not going to be as prone to drifting, just because, again, that was part of the big problem with the Joy-Cons early on. I haven't heard much about the Joy-Con drift recently, so I assume they fixed it since then. They are going to probably put speakers in these, or this is kind of a hope, kind of a prediction, that I think they're going to have speakers in the Joy-Cons like they had with the Wiimote, which I loved it. Like, whenever we were playing on our family Wii, like, my brothers would want to turn the speakers, the volume down on the Wiimote. I loved it. I always turned the volume up whenever I was playing. I thought it was great. And the big one, which, it's not super big of an issue for me, but it's kind of something I would really like, is it's going to be probably a large controller, but if not larger, at least they're going to design it to be more comfortable for people with larger hands. Now, I don't have the biggest hands, but even for me, just playing with the Joy-Con, like it's playing with the single Joy-Con, it's too small. I don't like it. It's a little different if you're doing it like in Skyward Sword, where you have one in each hand, but even at that is still a little too small for me personally. So I think they're going to try and figure out how to make the Joy-Cons either bigger or more comfortable for larger hands. Now, if the controller, or if the console itself is bigger, it's easy enough to make the Joy-Cons bigger, which I think it probably will be. I think the console will probably be a bit bigger. So I think currently at least the OLED is a 7-inch screen. I'm going to assume they're going to go with at least an 8-inch screen. I don't know what the standard screen sizes are, but I think it's going to be bigger, partially to accommodate having more pixels, so they're not, make it easier to have a 1080p screen without having super teeny tiny pixels. I don't know what goes into manufacturing screens, so I don't know if that's really a concern. That's just a thought there. But if they make the entire thing bigger, it'll make it easier for them to have actual, have bigger Joy-Cons, or whatever we're going to call them. One other prediction is I think that it will be actually backwards compatible with all current Switch controllers, so that will include the NES, SNES, and 64 controllers, the Pro controller. All the Joy-Cons are going to work both on the console for handheld mode or just holding the Joy-Cons. And I think there's an adapter for using GameCube controllers, which that will also work. Actually, I think that just is through USB, so that would be fine. Well, I just realized that I didn't have noise filter on, so sorry if the audio was bad for the first part of the video. It's probably still not great, but it'll be better now, I think. So those are my predictions. I'm going to stick by them. I think that probably everything I said for the predictions is going to be in the next Switch. I'm pretty certain about that. Now I'm going to go with my hopes. So these are things that I would love to see, but I'm not certain that they're going to be there. Some of them I think probably will be, but some of these there's a pretty decent chance we won't see. So the big one for me is better gyro support in the Joy-Cons. So my biggest problem with Skyward Sword for the Switch was the gyro on the Joy-Cons just does not work. It doesn't work. 'Cause you'll be sitting there holding the thing as still as you can, even resting your arm on the couch so it can't move at all, and you can see the cursor will just slowly drift off, and it uncalibrates and uncenters itself way too easily on the current Joy-Cons. Even to some extent the Pro controllers, though honestly I've had a little less issue with those than with the Joy-Cons. So that, I think, I would love for them to fix. I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if other people have had issues like that. So I don't think they're going to worry about it too much, but it's something I would really like to see. Also, currently, the gyro in the Switch, it does not work well if there's not a direct line of sight between the Joy-Con and the console. It kind of works, but if there's stuff between the two, it's sometimes a little jittery, unresponsive, so that's something I would love for them to fix, but again, I don't know if that would be high on their priority list, especially since they have so many other things to fix with the Joy-Cons. So that's something that I'm not willing to predict that will be a thing, but that would make me so happy if they did fix that. Next up, so this is something that, this is only mainly because of the Zelda OLED Switch. I really hope that it supports using old docks. Now, I'm assuming they would have to do a firmware update for the docks, which is fine because that's easy enough to do. You can do it currently. I would love if you could use the old docks because I really love my Zelda OLED dock, and I would love to keep using it even with the new Switch. Because, assuming there's going to be backwards compatibility, there's not going to be really a reason to use the current gen Switch, but I still want to use the dock. So I really hope they have backwards compatibility. I don't know if that would be possible if they have to, they're obviously, if they're going to be doing 4K and stuff, there's going to have to be a lot of changes made to, to everything. So there's a chance they're not going to be able to use the current docks, but if they can, I would love it if they could. Next up, now this is something that some people are probably going to hate me for saying, but while I would love for there to be themes on the Switch 2, but I'm not predicting that there will be, at least not at launch. I don't think there will actually be different themes other than light and dark. I would love it if there were. Don't get me wrong, I would love there to be nice fancy themes, a Zelda theme, a Mario theme. I would love that. I do not think it will be there, at least at launch. I am sorry if everybody gets mad at me for suggesting such a thing. Next up, so I would... Now, this is kind of the lowest priority in my hopes list, but I would like it if there was a slightly better D-pad on the Pro Controller, because I use the D-pad on the Pro Controller all the time. Like, just earlier today, I was playing Kirby's Return to Dreamland, and I used the D-pad for that, because that's what I did on the Wii. And it's not wonderful. Like, it's not the best D-pad Nintendo's ever made. It's usable, but I would love it if they improved it on the Pro Controller for the Switch 2, which, oh yeah, by the way, I didn't say, obviously there's going to be a Pro Controller for it. That's kind of a given. So that's something else. And now, this one, I highly doubt is going to be a thing. But I'm going to put this out there. If I predict this and it's correct, like if I say this and it's correct, I want like all the praise in the world. But I would love if there was some sort of second screen, even when it's in docked mode, if you had a second screen to be able to play DS games. That would be awesome. As part of that, if they do add a second screen for doing DS games, I would love if they included either a DS or 3DS cartridge slot directly on the console. That would be so cool. I really don't think that's going to happen. It's basically a 0% chance of that happening. But if it does happen, that would be awesome, and I really want that. Alright, so there are my predictions and my hopes for the Nintendo Switch 2, or Super Nintendo Switch, or whatever they're going to call it. Super Switch would actually be a really cool name. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know what you think I got wrong. Now, as of when I'm recording this, they haven't announced any sort of direct or anything. Maybe they have by the time I post this. Actually, if they announce a direct before I plan on posting this, I'll post the video early. But so I'm expecting either sometime in the middle of this month or probably early next month there will be a Nintendo Direct. And at the end of the Direct, they'll announce the new Switch. So yeah, again, in the comments, let me know what you think I got right, what you think I got wrong. What kind of things do you think are going to be in it that I completely missed? But anyway, well, until next time, so long.